reaction. I am Carla Renata. I'm going to be your moderator for this post-screening Q&A for Hedda Gabler. And without further ado, I'm going to bring on stage, dun, 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 dun. You know her, you love her. The producer and the actress in the title role of Hedda Gabler, Ms. Tessa Thompson. And last but certainly not least, the writer, producer, and director of Hedda, Ms. Nia DaCosta. You're welcome. All right, so before we get into the fabulousness that is Hedda, I want to remind the audience that following this Q&A, you are all going to get to see the film Little Woods, which was Nia and Tessa's first collaboration together. It was also the first time I had the pleasure of speaking with you ladies, so this is like a reuniting, so to speak. So there's Jordan Coogler, there's Scorsese and De Niro, and now we got DaCosta and Thompson, baby. No, baby, I got it.
It's Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
No, baby, I'm doing the last names,
Cool.
So having said that, what is it that connects you both to create as a duo? And share with us how your collaborative relationship has evolved over the years. You can start, Nia.
Hi everyone, thank you for coming. We soon learned from Little Woods here. I didn't remember, and now that I'm just sitting here, I'm like, oh, it was here.
It was here.
You know what I remember from that time actually? Is that I was sitting there and I said humbleness instead of humility. I think about that every
And
day.
talked to you for about 8 years.
If I was there, I knew I was wrong 30 seconds later, but it was too late. But this is why we're still collaborating, because
Yeah.
she puts up with me having brain farts like that.
Do you know what, Nia? It occurs to me because she and I have a habit, every time we take a photo together, we look like we've taken, we look like we're like, and you know those photo booths you used to take at like the mall, and you'd be like, one friend's like this and the other friend's like this. Like that's the kind of photographs we take, and our very first one we took like that was in this lobby.
Wow.
Yeah, just looking super nerdy.
Oh my god, yeah, we can't help it. We either look like a couple who are about to adopt a child, or I look like I've adopted you. So there's never like an in between. But okay, to answer your question, thank you so much for being here as well. You know, when I first came to know of Tessa and her work, it was when I was trying to figure out what actors were going to come to the Sundance Labs, or to the director's lab, and help me workshop my scenes for my movie. And basically you get to like bring 3 actors out, and I knew I wanted Luke Kirby and Emmy Rossum for 2 of the roles, but the lead role, Ollie in Little Woods, I wasn't sure, I didn't know who it would be. And the casting director that I had through the labs was like, you should look into Tessa Thompson. And I saw something for her, I was like, oh yeah, I'm actually familiar with her, she's great. But then I watched an interview, because I wanted to see what the vibe was, because so much of the labs is about workshopping and openness and creativity, and so I remember watching this interview of Tessa on Craig Ferguson, and the entire, I don't even know what you were promoting, because you just talked about sandwiches, and I just thought, and the funny thing about that is like you do love a sandwich, so I
just love snacks.
Yeah.
As soon as I came here, I was like, clearly.
Exactly. And so that was like, oh yeah, she'd be down. Like she seems like the kind of person who would like come into that environment and just be cool and open, and she was like to such a degree, and generous and fucking great. And then we just became really fast friends. So I think that's why it's like the luck of having a pal and also like an amazing collaborator.
All right, well, we got your take on it. Tessa, what's your take?
Well, at that time, you come to the labs, and as an actor, you sort of donate your time to someone's vision. There's no expectation you would ever make the movie. Many films out of the lab don't get made, I'm sure. But the third day, she said to me, when I make this movie, will you make it with me? And do you remember that? Or
You say that, and I think we were in like the corner of the Owl Bar.
yeah, so you went to this little owl bar, and sometimes the the late great Robert Redford would show up and everyone would ask the questions, and whoever was on the mountain that year to be a mentor. So it was always a collection of incredible people and a lot of young aspiring filmmakers. And anyways, we were in the corner of the Al Bar. Maybe you were a couple drinks in, but you said it, and I remembered. And she said, "When I make this movie, you make it with me." She didn't say if, she said when. And I think just that clarity of vision and determination, which I think is really requisite to make a thing, and especially if you want to make something that's as particular as Little Woods. Those of you that have seen it will know, and those of you that stay to see it will see. And I just love that about her, and this ability to sort of cut through all of the noise and to talk to each other really directly and to challenge each other. I think most generative creative relationships are ones where you can do that with a tremendous amount of love and trust, and for whatever reason we've been able to do that since we met.
I love that. It's such a beautiful relationship you guys have as filmmaker and actor and producer. I love it. All right, so now let's get into the fabulousness that is Hedda. I love this critic's take on it. Don't look at me like that, it's fabulous. Listen. One critic described this film as a film that takes your breath away. It's a sensual, ingenious update of Ibsen's classic play, honoring the grand theatrical tradition and transforming it into new, ecstatic cinema. This is what art of adaptation is all about. And I think that was right on point.
Did you write that? Was that you?
No, it wasn't. I wish I was that eloquent with my words. I talk the same way I write, unfortunately. Or write the same way I talk. But so having said that, what was it about adapting this 19th century Ibsen classic that's 134 years old, that inspires you to create this queer take on Hedda?
Wow, that's crazy. I didn't expect anyone to really understand what the hell was going on when I put this movie in, because she's so complicated and computational and challenging as a character, and the play is the same way, and that's what drew me to it. But that's also why I'm always so taken aback and gobsmacked by people who see it for what it is and appreciate it. I really just wanted to take a stab at a character like that who makes you really think about why she does what she does, and in turn make you think about why you do the things you do. She talks a lot about cowardice and bravery. I think that's something we all wrestle with in our own ways. What is it to really do what you want to do? Are you living a life that you actually want to be in? We all make decisions, we all go down these paths, and I think there's no great secret or mystery why so many of the stories we tell are kind of sliding door stories, what could have been. And so I think we all live in this state of not perpetual regret, but perpetual what if. And I think for some people that's torturous, and I think for Hedda there's an element of that. And I think the what if walked us into the party in the form of Ivan Loveborg, and that dynamic was so exciting to me. And so that was a part of why I really want to tell the story.
Cool, thank you for that. Now Tessa, I'm gonna turn the tables on you for a second. This is your 6th time producing a project. Did you know that? It's your 6th time, I'm gonna remind you, it's your 6th time producing a project. So having said that, how have you learned to navigate your role as a producer while focusing and navigating being an actress who's focused on the role and the task at hand?
Oh, well, thanks for telling me that. I didn't know that. That's very
Yes, girl, I did my research.
And this project marks the first thing that I've produced under my production company's banner. It's called Viva Mod, and I'm really excited, and it feels very special that our first outing would be with you, given the relationship that we've had. I really got into producing mostly. I was doing it in the context of projects that I was in, so I made a film called Passing, I made a film called Sylvie's Love, and those things I also produced. But it was it was more because I came onto the project, I helped gain financing, but I got a producer credit similar to Little Woods, and it was a kind of producing, but I think I was really hungry to be integral from the ground up and to understand, because typically as an actor, you sort of walk in and the thing becomes real, but there are so many moments before that moment where you're trying to get this thing made and you're trying to find the money and then once you find the money to assemble cast, and even before all of that, sometimes you're ideating story and building it from the ground up, and I really hungered to do that. I think I've just always, as an actor, been so curious what everyone else is up to, and when you're an actor that is that way, sometimes it can feel, sometimes people interpret it as curiosity and sometimes it's bothersome, you know? Like I remember wanting to go into everyone else's sort of corridors and see what people are working on, and they're like, why are you here? But when you're a producer, people are, you know, they want you there and they need you there and you're integral to the process. So I just love it, and I'm really excited with some projects coming out later this year that I'm not in the frame at all. I just got to produce, and it's been such a gift. It has felt like the culmination of something that's been, you know, happening inside of my work for a long time.
All right, let's get into Hedda a little bit. I love at the beginning of the film, Nia, there's this anti-fans quote.
Oh, yeah.
But this, and I'm not sure if it's this quote or not, but I love this particular anti-fans quote. There's no animal more invincible than a woman, nor fire either, nor any wildcat so ruthless. And I think that adequately describes Hedda to a T. And this is the thing, Tessa, I feel like the characters that you inhabit, they are consistently strong. They are consistently unapologetic about who they are, no matter what their circumstances are. And they are specifically powerful, regardless of what ethnicity she is. And I just want to applaud you for always bringing that to every role and every film that you do, but particularly in this film. So what was it about Hedda that really intrigued you? Because it's been played by 5,000 different actresses. Let me read them all off for y'all. Kate Blanchett, Maggie Smith, Ingrid Bergman, Glenda Jackson, Fiona Shaw, Annette Bening, Diana Rigg, and Nina Hoss, who plays Eileen in this film. How intimidating, girl, was it to play opposite Nina? Because she is a beast.
She is a beast. You know, I think it's intimidating to step into the part just for all of the reasons that you named, namely which all these incredible actors that have done it before. But I think it's also the joy of working on something that's classical. It's been around for centuries. It doesn't belong to you. It doesn't belong to anybody. It belongs to everybody. So even inside of these seminal performances, many of which I watched, because when we decided to make this thing, I was like, I want to watch every version of it I can find. And he was like, are you sure?
Yeah, literally.
And I was like, yeah, I do, because I'm just curious. And I knew we wanted to break some rules of the piece, and so I felt like I needed to understand the rules that we were going to break. And I had read the play, but I had never seen it on stage. So I've seen a lot of those performances.
Do the percussion at the beginning. It's like it's its own silent character that doesn't have any lines, but it has sound. Can you speak a little bit about working with all of the fabulous craft people, you know, from the costumes to the makeup to the production design to the musical score? Can you walk us through what that process was about choosing those people?
For sure, yeah. So Sean Bobbitt, my DP, and I actually met when I was 24 years old, and I was PA on a TV show that he was shooting, and I would drive him to RACSC in Secaucus, New Jersey, and ask him about cameras and about lenses, and I'd be like, I'm making a short film. I'm gonna make movies. He's like, okay, like, this is what's happening. And at the time, it was like, I mean, I graduated college when the Red was making everything every cinematographer had learned irrelevant, even though the Red wasn't really giving what it would need to be given. And Sean was developing the Alexa at the time. He was like helping Ari, like, you know, develop that camera, and so now I have a huge bias towards it. But again, generosity of spirit that my collaborators tend to have, that's something I really look for. Also, he's a genius, so that's helpful. But we reconnected on the Marvels, and I knew I just wanted to work with him again. I was like, oh, I've met my match, essentially. And a lot of his crew also, Simon Wood, our Steadicam and Trinity operator, Jem, our key grip. Lindsay did the Marvel film as well, and she's just like a mad scientist. Like, she's just so good. Kara Brower is our third film together. So I was just like collecting people over the course of my career, and I think basically every department head, was not the first time working together. Except for, Jakob Schulsinger, but we met Jakob at Sundance Labs when we were friends, and he edits for Ruben Östlund and Lars von Trier, and he's also just like a funny Danish man. So I just knew this would be like the perfect match, weirdly. But I chose them all because they're all so brilliant, but also understand me, and I'm super clear and I'm really specific, and I know exactly what I want, but I also want to hear what they have to say, and I really want them to improve on everything that I have, and I want them to be able to be the amazing artists that they are. So that has always garnered this great work, and so I'm so proud of the crafts in this movie. Oh, Hilda is our first time working together. I wanted her to do the Marvel movie, and she was like, I don't know what's happening. And I was like, I totally get it, girl. And so then like a year later, I sent her Hedda, and I was like, I think this might be more yours for you, babe. She's like, absolutely. And then our first conversation, we talked about breath and percussion. Those were the two things. I was like, I want to explore this in the score, and then the score became a lot of breath and percussion. And then while we were editing, I think Jakob and I were like, ooh, there needs to be more, and Hilda, she was like, you need a love theme. Like, so that's where that, na, 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 comes in, and like the way we use it, help, Jakob and I like kind of honed in on, and then we added more trumpet because it just felt really beautiful and it connected to Hedda's true emotional like vulnerability. So yeah, that's a speed tale of all my booze.
Thank you for breaking that down, sis. There's a lot of people that you had to thank,
Yeah.
but it was worth it. It was worth it. And closing it out, I just want to blow y'all up just a little bit before we end this discussion. It warms my heart to see where I met you guys at Little Woods, to see you go from Little Woods to the Marvels, to Candyman, to this, to you, seeing you in passing and
Also Marvel.
Stevie, Marvel and Stevie's. The things that you all do together, collectively and individually, are very powerful. And you encourage a whole new generation of women and little girls to become whatever they want to be in this cinematic landscape. And for that, I thank you.
Thank you.